Hello, good evening. How are you? It's been quite a while, Mhm. and I haven't been feeling that well or keen on doing another transmission because, excuse me, I've changed positions. I've changed a place where am I filming this because it doesn't feel right anymore, and I'm looking for proper lighting, and yeah, it just felt better. But lately everything feels uncomfortable because I'm still working on my nervous system, and from time to time I have this pain here in the nerve that's been a problem. So it swells and creates pain, and I've been having pain in my because I had my while tooth when my tooth was extracted, I had my jaw dislocated a little bit, which I recently discovered, and it's creating because I'm working on it and it's creating pain, and then I have a headache. So I don't feel like doing much. And I'm waiting for a client that is coming with some sense of the satisfaction, so it kind of enhances itself through me. And yeah, basically that's where I'm at. So I was not much into making this video, and yeah, somehow they don't feel that exciting anymore, and like they used to. And I haven't discovered why yet. Well, I made my Serbian video around a topic of how to be yourself in a time of chaos, and yeah, that was in August, end of August, and it's been a while. I thought I'm gonna be making this video sooner, and I was in a different mood. Uh, since then, I've been dealing with some issues back home, uh, with that I've already spoken about around my brother and my criminal neighbors. But I'm not going to be talking about this at the moment because I don't want to disclose my actions in case, not that they're watching this, but in case somebody who might tell them this is watching. I mean, I already took some actions, but um, I don't want to disclose my plan. And I also have some news. First of all, the book that I was mentioning the last time that I was presenting in Serbian, Wisdom from Sessions, it's not, I thought it's going to be done by now, but it's not done yet. I'm sorry that I mean, lately I started looking a little bit like myself, but because when this happens and this becomes swollen and I can't breathe properly because this starts filling, because of this, it was an operation here, and I have some work to do around this. I'm dealing with it, but it's not bringing as much challenges and it as it used to, but it's still not quite right. And sometimes I wake up with this pain, and especially when I want to channel, because it's this nerve that is going, and it's going in my eye, and then it's here, and it's, yeah, when more energy comes, and when it becomes active, it creates a little pain and discomfort. And yeah, I also have a designated stalker that's hopping around this all. And yeah, I don't know how to deal with that one. Yeah, I haven't figured it out because he's a pest. He's a complete and total pest, and I've been handling this for a while, but I want this to end, and I haven't found a proper way of ending that yet. I haven't. There's something I didn't understand around that yet. So yeah, and it's, yeah. it bugs me and it goes on my nerves. So yeah, it's usually around some holidays time, and especially full moon and new moon, which full moon is near. So yeah. Anyways, back to the book. The book is not finished yet. I thought it's going to be finished by by September, when I come back from my vacation, but it's not finished because the the woman who is doing editing in Serbian for me, and I need to do editing because I want to do it properly, and I don't have a publisher, but I want to be able to put it in libraries and sell it. I mean, it's a serious book. It can be used as a manual or for lectures and something. So I have a plan around that. So I wanted to do this properly, and I mean, she's extended it a little bit. She's taking her time because she had some of her issues of her own. So I'm I'm waiting for her basically, because she's doing me a favor, and I don't have a saying in it as much. As for the English version, that was on me, but I haven't done much around it. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna be by the end of this year or by spring next year. I have a translation, but I need to edit it myself, and then somebody who's a native speaker needs to edit it, and I don't have a person at the moment. I mean, I did have my cards had somebody who did editing in English, but that's not available anymore. So we'll see. I have to, when I get to that, I'm gonna be thinking about it. Anyways, yeah, I've been on a vacation with I've been to Greece, as you can see probably. So this I don't know if this is an olive oil or a laurel leaf, but I just had to have this for myself as one of my props. As you see, I have all of the others, and the big one, and I have my drum around here. So I just finally wanted to show them a little bit. I want them to be visible. I don't actually know how many people in English are actually listening to this, but it doesn't really matter if it's only one person. It's for that person. So I'm just gonna be yeah. I'm gonna try to do the same transmission, but it's never the same transmission. And since my energy changed and since the energy around me changed since the last video, I'm gonna be speaking on the same topic, but I'm probably not gonna say the same things. And I have very big annoying pain around here, and it's really preventing me to be properly in this string. Anyways, this that was one of the reasons why I wasn't showing up, and I literally I've been working on this for a while because I just don't resemble myself when I look at myself because of it, and it bugs me. So anyways, speaking about being who you really are and how to be who you really are in the time of chaos and changes and turbulences, it's not impossible, uh, but it is challenging, especially if you are not going to disconnect from the outside world and live in a mountain, or I don't know, somewhere in the even if you live in a village, you're still connected to other people and civilization. So yeah, it's we in around this area there are not so many turbulences as they used to be. There are still protests, and they're not as violent as they were at the time when I was making the previous video, but it shifts. And it's not good. That's not going to end. I mean, it's beginning to. I already mentioned then that it's happening in other parts of the world. It's just we don't know. We're not informed. Now we're beginning to receive some news, but the heat is enhancing, and it's going to continue to enhance until, well, until spring, May, possibly June. And I don't like to make prognosis, especially around here, because people want to be told what's going to happen, and they're very focused on the outer and what's happening on the political scene around here and economic scene, political more than anything. But the these kind of protests that we're seeing around here are not going to end anytime soon, and then maybe we're going to be seeing some turbulences in beginning of November and maybe throughout December. Maybe we're going to have elections December or January. Then we're going to have some more turbulences, and I don't know how that plays out because I don't want to know. I don't want to. I mean, I don't care. I seriously am so. Not that I don't care what's going on around here because I have to know I am here. I have to live around here, but I'm just not interested anymore in what happens in this political and business entity that is my call my country. It's a corporation now. It's not even a country anymore. So I'm just doing my best to swim through these shifts and changes. But there is another thing. This is why I felt so. I don't know everything lately. That's not nothing new. But still, doing these videos and creating stuff, creating things, writing, and in raising awareness on stuff, especially on some injustices in the world and in the system that used to be so not trick. I would well, it was triggering, but I'm not gonna say triggering. It was kind of my business to look there and direct the attention to there. It doesn't feel as appealing and as inviting anymore, and everything like feels off, and everything feels even in the spiritual work around, being in some group and doing some events and um everything became, even some things that I was talking about, that doesn't mean that that's not correct, but it's as if I've shifted some dimensions and some collective um patterns, as you've been speaking in the group work, priesthood, priestesses, and some of the archetypes that I was talking about. And it feels like way, way back behind me since the summer, and not so appealing, and like a total illusion. And, I feel like I'm in this kind of void bubble or something, but I'm not quite there where I'm supposed to be at the moment. I don't know where that is. So that's the other part of I have something that is upcoming for me, a certification program that I don't want to talk about it at the moment. I don't want to announce anything. It requires a lot of work on yourself, and it's already about something that I'm already doing, but it's upgrade, and I want to open some new fields for myself. and which direction will this go? I think I'm going to get clarification there. And so far I have not been able as much to work with groups, and I want to do some groups and circles and maybe teaching, and I'll see where that goes. But again, I'm not going to be making any announcements because of the designated stalkers, because only the things that I didn't announce, they happened. But when I announced something, I had challenges in creating stuff. So I just don't want to do this to myself at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to be speaking about it when it happens, and it's fairly soon. Yeah, it's getting closer. Finally, I've been waiting for 10 years for that. I was supposed to be doing this. I've been doing this work for 10 years. And I was supposed to do this in 2017. And I've been pushed way back. And, I, especially since 2019 and COVID, and everything that I've been mentioning, it's and on mentioning this or that way. Yeah, I've been healing my wounds that I got in astral attacks, serious ones, especially 2 years ago, and all this that I've been talking about, and everything that's been going, that's healing of these serious wounds, and I am taking it a little bit slower than I used to, which annoys me, uh, but it also feels that it's right at the moment, and I can't take another different kind of pace. So yeah, and I want to speak about it, and I don't want to speak about it, especially when I'm speaking in Serbian video. I never mention that, and I rarely mention it, and I speak of it fairly little because people can't understand that. Mm, the audience that I have for that in Serbian, that is too much for them, and that's the other thing that it started feeling me feel off, is that the clients that I've been having recently are really very big beginners in all this stuff, and yeah, I feel like I've been working with kids in kindergarten, and I'm not for working with souls that are in kindergarten. Some of them are not, but I just, the energies that I have to deal with there and dismantle there, and that there's absolutely nothing that is presenting a challenge for, it's a challenge physically, but it's not, let's say, the worlds and the dimensions and what I want to open and what I want to talk about and what I want to present here, where I want to go, is not that. And it feels as if it's not blocking me, but holding me back a little bit. And I would gladly appreciate the clientele that want to speak about different other worlds and other dimensions and densities. And yeah, I've had them, but a few. As for my colleagues, whether do they have them or not, I, as to what I see, as to where I want to go, where I go myself, or when, I haven't heard that they have, maybe a few here or there. But yeah, I just want to open these worlds and knowledge of these other worlds more. And when I speak about it from my own experience, it feels, well, it doesn't feel backed up in when I have other people with similar stories and experiences, it feels uh, as confirmation. So I feel more confident to speak about it. So yeah, that's another thing. Anyways, I know I'm supposed to be taking, well, a different route. That doesn't mean that these sessions not doing these sessions. That mean, yeah, I will be doing them, but I'm gonna be adding stuff to it besides my soul reading. So yeah. And speaking around that, like, uh, speaking about who you really are, uh, that's part of it actually, because I'm only now discovering that, I've seen like 3 to 4 different emanations of myself, and I've been shocked to discover that these are all identities of different densities that I have been identifying with, and they have been fairly familiar to me. It hasn't been a surprise when I discovered that that is me, and that this is how I present myself. My soul presents itself to me in a different, not dimension, density. I think three, three. I think I recently discovered fourth, and I thought, yeah, that, this is when I saw my goddess self. I thought, wow, that's it. But recently, I discovered another appearance, and I was really shocked to understand that this is me. And this is basically what instigated this talk. So when I was thinking what was still with holding me back, and how come that I couldn't unlock this before, I couldn't understand this before, well, what was it that was in me that, I couldn't reach this level sooner after all this work that I've done. It was identifying with a certain identity too much. So I spoke about being identifying with being Serbian, and how I was told not to identify with being Serbian, and how it was difficult to not identify with the religious backgrounds of Orthodox Christianity, which is, I think, from what I've seen, a lot um, harder to give up on a program, or a lot harder to give up on, because we didn't have that much all of the things that happen in Catholicism, and atrocities that Catholicism did towards certain groups of people, and even their own people, uh, and the way that it was spread around violently. And Orthodoxy is a little bit different, because we always had to fight for staying Orthodox, because every once in a while somebody wanted to convert us. So it was really difficult. I mean, we were living in, I was born and I lived in a socialism. So first I had to come to terms with orthodoxy, and then it was really hard to give up on that problem, not to mention not identifying with being a Serbian. It took a while. And I thought, and once, and I was told once, like maybe even 10 years ago, a little less, on some sessions that I had for myself, that I was identifying too much with the extinction of a nation and the genocide and atrocities that happened in a nation. I was identifying too much with it, and I thought at the time that was meant, well, Serbian nation, but actually no. And it took me quite a while to understand, and I only recently understood that unconsciously, deeply inside, I was identifying a lot with atrocities that happened to Native Americans and the indigenous people in general, because Serbians are also indigenous people of Europe, but I myself inside was carrying a lot of trauma in Native American indigenous people. Not, I don't know how come that so much of it is inside of me, but I had past lives, but I had only two past lives as a Native American. And I was told that it's in my genes, it's in my DNA. I don't know how, but I was told more than once by plant teachers and by other my information, but by other people too. I haven't done any DNA tests or so, and I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just speaking about my experience, but from what I've found on the inside my in energy and the inside of me, the only thing that where I could reach some information that I couldn't reach before were some things that were hidden from me that I couldn't unlock before opened up for me, where when I started to connect to Native American history and tradition, and when I went to Sweat Lodge. Finally, that I mean, I had other teachers of other indigenous nations, and I've been initiated in the Mexican shamanism, but that didn't open this up for me. That pushed it further away from me for some reason. So some of the things they didn't want to, they since those guides were pushed away by other interested parties, they were not, although they were protecting me, but they were not disclosing information to me. So since I got a drum and some other connections opened up for me, and since I met some people who brought their energy, were genuine carriers of the lineages, not whether they are aware of it or not. Not talking about that at the moment. I'm talking about feels when the flow is off when I'm not properly seated. Anyways, the connection of those energies brought something to me, uncovered something in me, and I've been receiving information for the last 2 years. And then when I went to Sweat Lodge, I've been not only that I've been receiving information, but I've cleared. Uh, I've cleared some of those things, and I have integrated this part of me, the Native American part of me, whether that's from past life or wherever from. But I couldn't. It was. It felt yes as me at some point somewhere, but far away from me because that part was seriously traumatized. And oh God, the amount, all the things that I've seen, that I've experienced as this woman are horrendous. And this part of the nerve that was written in this part of my body and the nerve, and it's mostly what is mostly working, not at the moment, but whatever I have to go there, it's my teeth, which are ancestry, and my pelvis uh, roots, and there's still a lot that is hidden there for me with a different reason and a different, that's a different topic entirely. So I'm gonna be straying way away from what I want to speak from if I go there, but it's around roots. So there is a lot of a woman with a lot of power, with a lot of talents, but a woman that never lived very long, that experienced a lot of animosity, a lot of atrocities, a lot of trauma, uh, that's been obl- destroyed and obliterated. And yeah, it's we here don't really know very much about that part of history. It's like we touch upon it and you kind of understand it, but and know that it happened. But when you go deeply into it, and I'm not going as deep as I would like to because I can't. I'm just um, working with the information that I receive myself, and things that open up along the way, and then I learn from it. I would like to have somebody else who could be teaching me properly, but this is what's being presented to me. I'm far away from any proper knowledge and proper elders or people who could be telling me anything, any of this. And then I have different kind of identity, and it was a kind of a shock. So yeah, I mentioned a couple of times that I've been receiving information in my dreams, and that even throughout, I would hear a voice that would give me a name. I would hear a name or a word in some language, and when I looked it up, I this is how I found out about sweat lodges, because I didn't hear first when I was to go to a sweat lodge. I didn't hear a sweat lodge. Somebody told me you need an INIP ceremony, and I didn't have a clue what's an INIP ceremony. And yeah, uh, and other things, like I would see a face, an image, and then I would see that face somewhere on a poster, uh, on a picture on internet, on somebody's t-shirt, and I would Google it, and would see, who am I seeing, and I don't know, why am I seeing this, or I would hear a name, then I'd Google that name, and I would find out about this person, and I still don't know why is this being in my energy, and why was I given this information. And with this one, my not guides, they're kind of guardians, but they're somehow in my energy. And yeah, I'm going way around and around of what I'm gonna say, because I don't know how to say it. Um, these are informations that, I mean, are given to me through ether and through my soul. It's in my energy. It's in my soul. And I thought that some of those are informations about the connections that I had, around the friends that I had, and some, yeah, and some are not. Some are mine, and I don't know how I know them, but I know I know them, and I didn't hear about them before. Nobody, not a, at least not a living being. It's not a living being that told me that. So, anyways, I spoke about this in different videos, and I don't know what's where anymore. So, point being, this is a part of me that I couldn't integrate because of all these traumas, because it was unhealed. Although this was the strongest part of me, and the part of me that had the most knowledge and the biggest talents. But that's not me. It's me, it's a part of me, but it's not the entirety of me. So I unconsciously identifying with that part, but I'm much bigger. My soul is much more than that. So it doesn't have a soul, doesn't have a nationality, it doesn't have a gender, although it can present itself as a male or a female. Uh, it doesn't. I mean, it has a different history. It has a galactic history, and this earthly. It has an earthly history too, but it's just a part of a bigger movie that the soul is going through for a specific reason. And mine went through a whole lot of traumatic experience of exploited women and children, and most of it, it's not all from Native American lives, and carrying this imprint. It's not all my lives, it's an imprint in my energy from, I don't know whether these are guides or whatever they are to me, but they are, I mean, I'm not going to be saying ancestry because it feels so off, but it's in my DNA. And it was in me. It took me a while to understand that all this, that it triggered me a lot when I was listening, and I'm reading a book that kind of presented itself to me about history of Native American nations, and it's horrendous. I don't have the capacity to read a lot of it, and I took it with me on a vacation, which was a big mistake. I mean, I've had lives and identities in different nations here, and but none of it was. I mean, I I didn't find that I was identifying as much with any of those, and it was much easier to understand that and understand the lessons from it and integrate what I was supposed to integrate and leave what I don't need anymore. But with this, it was a little bit harder because it was also an imprint of not only me but of, like, if what it felt of thousands of people, and or the entire nation, and it was so hard. And when I read about it, I still feel like I still feel that I have this very heavy vibration in my lower back and in my roots and my pelvis, and I have some pain there, and I just can't. I read a little bit, then I give it a rest, and then I read it. 'Cause what we know is very little of it, and it's really hard. It is a genocide. It's total genocide, and not that we as Serbians are free, are completely free from it. It's we have quite a bit of those too, and if this wasn't enough, but this identifying with this kind of led me to all of the other experiences that I watched throughout other lifetimes, and coming into this life and this identity and this personality and this nation here, because my decisions on the higher plane were driven and colored with this kind of trauma because my soul wanted to heal it. But it was also um, embedded with it wanted to not only heal it but wanting justice. So the dreams that I had, I mean, I had them before, but I knew, I mean, I had other lives where my hands were cut, but I also had dreams where I would see myself as a Native American in this Native American outfit with without hands. Like from here, I don't have hands from here, and I'm coming out of a building of which looked like some government building, and I looked like somebody fairly important, but I was a woman, and I'm always a woman. It's just that I don't have hands, and that lasted a little bit, so that kind of like moved away and shifted. And oh God, there was a lot. I can't remember everything that I've been dismantling, but it was all of these kind of different different kinds of traumas and hunger and all of the hunger and all of the pain and all of the suffering and all of the children that died, dead children and dying children, and such deep poverty and deep pain. Oh my God. And I'm like, I can't handle that anymore. I don't have these dreams, luckily anymore, but all of the abuse, all of the abuses, it's not like I was without it in this life too, but it was so embedded with other lives. It was really difficult to understand all that. Anyways, it was, although I knew and I was told that I should not identify as with being Serbian, I should let go of being a Serbian so that I can become a soul of who I really am. I somehow couldn't apply it that easily to this part of me because I didn't even know it existed. I mean, I knew that I've seen something, but I didn't see it in depth. I didn't see all of the traumas that this part of me went through. And it was angry. It was bloody angry. And not only me, it's again the anger of it feels as if so many anger of so many people that is inside of me because of this, of and pain of so many people of this injustice. And all my life I've been living like a chicken calimero. It's injustice. You have to do something about this injustice because it's injustice, and we have to do something. And I'm finding myself now that none of it triggers me anymore. Yes, it is injustice, but it's not my fight anymore. It's not like I'm saying that I should be silent about some things, that I shouldn't say anything or do anything, but I am doing it, and I'm doing it in another plane. I'm doing it in a different way. And I'm doing it, you don't have to be loud to be doing something about something. You don't have to wave your flag all the time and be aggressive around it. Not that I was aggressive, but I had to say that I'm this. Peacemaking is not doing anything for me anymore. I don't have to, it's like the reality of understanding that changes don't happen on a physical plane, but all of the changes happen. Uh, what is happening? That all the changes are happening on, I don't know how come. What? Hmm. Anyways, all the changes are happening on, my battery is low and this is a new computer and this is why I'm so confused. How come? So, anyways, going back to where I was, all the changes are happening on a spiritual plane, on a soul level. And on a collective plane, it's on an astral plane. So when you start bringing in change, which I am doing with my clients and I'm doing for myself, that something should start. I have to do something about this because my computer is going to go off. I'm going to be able to cut this part and continue as if, you know, connect those two bits. I didn't expect this to happen because, like I said, it's a new computer. Anyways, not that I didn't know this, that we're bringing change on a higher plane, but somehow all of these things, all these horrors that were making me do something about it and say something about it was something that I was identifying with because it was in me. In this part of me, I don't have to be living in every specific, maybe I was, but we have to experience everything that every other nation experienced. Most of the indigenous nations experience all same thing, similar things. So you can identify when something is unhealed in you, or you did not integrate it, it's going to be triggering you more, so that you not only not to do something about it outside, but to do something around it inside. the inside. And yeah, most of the things that were triggering me before that are actually happening at the moment outside that are creating turbulences and challenges are not triggering me as they used to be triggering me before. And also because I've been in peacemaking and I've seen some things from the inside, not in the big systems, but still. And yeah, every all of these stuff is prone to manipulation, and I'm not gonna go there at the moment. So once I integrated this part of me, which some things I stopped having some dreams and I stopped seeing some helpers and guides as Native Americans. And recently I started seeing the being that is helping me. I mean, I just saw, like, I had a session on last week. Was it last week? Or a couple of days ago? Uh, yeah, Wednesday. And I saw a hand that was not a human hand with 6 fingers, 6 or 7. It looked kind of strange. And I also saw that I have horns. Well, something that looked like horns. It's here. And one of the things that as I used to see this, when I mentioned that I saw these different emanations of me that were humanoid, just different kind of looking, like me, and the one who was like an earthly plane was looking like Native American. But I saw recently, like this summer in July, when these energies were high and the portals were open, that was the very first time that I saw a being in front of me, uh, of luminescent violet or purple, golden, violet, violetish. Um, I don't know, was that a shield or scales or something? But it looked. I don't even know how to describe that because it's not something that I've never seen something like that. I haven't. I don't have words to describe it or anything to compare it with because it was literally the first time I saw something, but I only saw its head. And so I knew that was me, but it was like, it was as if it was made of plasma, or this shield, whatever it is, a body was made of plasma. It's not only that what's one of the reasons but why it was luminescent, but it was a little bit shifting, and it was really strong energy. And when I see it like that, it means when I'm not looking through the eyes of this being, it means it's not integrated yet. It's still a little bit far away from me, and I'm still not communicating with it properly. Or if I'm communicating with it, I'm communicating with it as if it was not me, but an entity separated from me. But I knew that this was me. The hand that was helping me and clearing me, that was not. I usually see. I mean, usually so far, I would be seeing in the light or different colors, or would see angels, humanoid, or animals, or Native Americans, male or female. But now I saw this hand that looked like some very old being, but it didn't look human. So that being, not the one with the hand that was helping me, but the one with violetish luminescence, the one that is like alien, but it so alien that is alien even to me. It's me. And I mean, I knew that I'm coming from a different density and a different galaxy. It's not a different dimension, it's a different, the other parts that I was mentioning that I see, they're different dimensions, but this is different density and different galaxy, and it's like millions millions of years away from here. I knew that. I had this information, but I'd never see it. I would see it as light, which is also authentic because we are light. And I knew the other characteristics of it. But then again, I don't think that this is the entirety of my soul, because it's soul is multidimensional and it's much bigger than that. And I'm still obviously having problems to identify with that part of me. And yeah, I'm still, whenever I go somewhere, I mean, even when in Greece, I had some visions of some fortresses, and I don't know if it was there or somewhere else, but those were obviously some of the traumatic experiences that were claiming regarding the fall from cliff and heights and being thrown. So that's what was being magnified and cleared in this travel. But I don't think that I don't have memories of ever being Greek. I have memories of being Atlantean, whether in that part or not, but I'm not sure whether it was in that part. So yeah, Greece was my choice this time, only because it's close to Serbia, and it's like the regular destination for Serbians to go to seaside and vacation. Oh, and it's not my first time there, and I gotta say this, I'm sorry to some friends that I have there. It's not my favorite place in the world. I prefer the islands, and I will have a teacher from there, and I love. I'm sorry, but yeah, or maybe it just was bringing up too much of my traumatized self and traumatized energy to come to the surface, and maybe it was a bit too much for me. But I was also performing as I went with my brother, and I was more assisting to him, so it was double the clearance, because I was clearing his energy too, and then I had some other things to do there. So, yeah, this was not the trip that was enhancing. I mean, it was in a way enhancing who I really was, but it was the way of how my energy works, which is another story. And yeah, how to be who you really are in these challenging times and in times of turbulences is just by going inward and dealing with the energy and whatever comes up to the surface at the moment that you're being triggered. This is why I've been speaking a lot about what was triggering me. And yeah, I have sidetracks because I don't know how this computer functions, because it's new and it's constantly changing something in the lighting, in the color, and it's annoying me because it's not fixed and it doesn't stay put as I'm used to, and it's so annoying. And I'm sorry about these sidetracks, but I need to talk to this machine properly. Me and machines, we don't work well anyways. So th- that's that's the part of my challenges lately. So speaking of those, I've had other glimpses of other identities on other planes, even on a ship that is alien self too, but from distance, the distance, familiar, more familiar density, this galaxy, and but from other planets, and that didn't catch me that much as a surprise. And that one works machines and is a programmer of holographic, one of the programmers of this holographic reality. And that's what's my task. Why my task here, one of the biggest tasks, is clearings and working on portals, because this is how you change holographic program. But still, this is just another part of me. And it's really, because the soul is multidimensional, it's really hard to identify with the entirety of you. Because you can be clearing from now till eternity and never clear everything, and never find out come to terms with all parts of you. But lately, since all these changes are happening and whatever comes to the surface, um, the energy that is around you, collective energy, is going to bring up in you what's still unhealed in you and what still needs to be integrated within you, so that you're not triggered and so that you are not locked in this pocket of reality, so that you can ascend, if you want to call it like that. And yeah, sometimes you can do it yourself through dreams. And yeah, and I'm a little bit more advanced in that, because I'm working with other people on the same thing. It doesn't mean that any anybody just can, you know, do it like that through dreams or through imaginative thinking, because it's not imaginative thinking. I mean, I'm communicating, I'm telling my guide to, when I see something, to do something about it, and explain it to me or clear it for me or remove it. And for me, that guide is a living being. It's just that I can't see it properly, and I've been teaching my clients to do the same, to communicate with their guide like that. And for most people, it's unfamiliar. They can't do it. And this is not something that I've learned through my sessions and my work on myself. And I've this is something that I've been doing since I can remember. How or why, I don't know. The only thing that I can come up with is that I've always had, I've, I've been, I had to rely on myself since childhood. And since childhood, I knew I had helpers, and I knew I can rely on them. And I've been communicating with them since childhood, and that never stopped, because in reality, I didn't have anybody else to rely on in physical reality. And this is why it is easy for me. It doesn't mean that everybody has to have experiences like that, but that's what this brought to me. But it is like that. They are around you and you can communicate with them. You just need to understand the way they respond to you and how they are communicating. This is what we're doing in sessions. Anyways, this is the part that is helping me become me and be who I really am, and understand things about me that I still don't understand. So I've mentioned somewhere that we are more than our nationality, more than our nation, more than our state, more than politics, or more than our financial state, that we are more than our roles, that we're more than our color, or even more than our gender, that we are more than what we perform and present to be in this physical plane, and even in the past lives. And this is what our soul is. So you can't, lock yourself. And this is what I've been teaching others. You can't lock yourself into being, um, African American or Serbian or Croatian or Native American. And unconsciously, I I have actually done that. I've done that in the past with being Serbian, and now I discovered that I've done this with Native American in me. And you know, I always whenever I remember something, I'm always shocked at how much horror stories we have in inside of ourselves. We also have stories of success and love stories and beautiful things, but somehow this when you want to go a little bit higher on some other planes, and when you want to be lighter in your energy and be brighter, all of these horror stories become heavy and heavier and more visible, and it's stickier. So you can get like like a fly that goes into a spider's net and then glues itself there, so you can get caught there too. And that, I didn't realize that that was what was happening to me, because I also loved that identity a lot. I also love my goddess soul, because that freaking lady is freaking gorgeous, and I want to look like that, and we're nothing alike. That it's a diva, and I can still can't feel myself like that. It's divine, but she's so beautiful and radiant, and I don't feel myself like that. But it was so freaking easy for me to feel myself as this petrified, terrified, heavy, and um, disempowered being with so much power is inside, but still feeling so disempowered because it was so traumatized and convinced that it was worthless, because it was being told repeatedly that it's worthless. And I actually heard that not in my last sweat lodge, but in my previous this winter. I actually heard a voice around me. It was a male's voice, and by the way, it was in Serbian. Usually, when I hear it, it should be in English, but it was in Serbian. I heard somebody telling me, "You dirty little Native American." I was like, "What? I'm not Native American. What the fuck are you saying?" And it was really hard for me. It was funny, and I thought I was going crazy. But I realized it was a program. That was a program that is inside of me. And this is the part why it was really hard for me to identify with this part of me, because of this program. And this is the program from past lives, but also collective program of the nation that I was unconsciously identifying. My subconscious was, I mean, subconsciously I speak English to myself, and I speak an unknown language with myself. So yeah, and I mean, I've had other indications. I constantly go, and I've had dreams before, way before. I constantly go to a plane. I go to a village, Native American village, in another plane somewhere, with teepees and stuff, and looking very, very native. And I meet some people there, and I talk to somebody there, some elders, and I meet my mother there. My mother from uh, this life. She's my mother in that reality too, and she's my teacher there. She's a shaman there, a woman, and she looks different. She's gray haired and different. And it took me a while to understand that this is her, but she's the one who's been teaching me everything I know. This is what I've been told in my dreams. Everything that I do that I don't know how I know, she's the one who's been teaching. My mother in this reality had no skills, no knowledge, was not spiritual, was not connected to her abilities and her talents. She was completely disempowered, and she was a battered woman, and that's not so this is why I couldn't connect those two. But there, she's like, wow, she's a very powerful being in this old Native American shaman. or whatever, medicine woman. And I constantly go there and she teaches me stuff. And then I go to some ceremonies there, and then I meet some clients there and other people who come to my sessions. Some people tell me that they've been through in dreams in a ceremony, or a fire ceremony or smoke ceremony, or whatever different words that they call it. And none of them said Swat Lodge, but some of them, most of them, say smoke ceremony. Then they would describe it to me, and then some are children there, and some are like other adults. And then I had some other dreams from some other ceremonies, and I had some visions, like this part of that was being damaged. I saw like a hand of a being, but it was like a reptilian with long nails and painted nails, scratch. That I had a scratch here, and then I would see a tent that was being torn, and then some hand that is sawing this tent. I don't know whether that's a tent in another dimension or somewhere else. I don't have a clue. I don't know, but I just go somewhere and I meet some people there that well, some of those recently I met in this dimension, this or that way, and I know it's them, and some I meet on a ship, but that's a different different dimension. It's the same group that is in this village, but on the ship they it they're humanoid and look physically the same, but they're in different roles, different. It's a different reality. So yeah, so much about my dreams. Um, so much happens in my dreams. Yeah, it's sometimes it's really hard for me to come to terms that I start and finish everything in my dreams, and I want to make myself do something, do more in this reality, do this, do that, create a program, do it, uh, advertise, or I don't know, invite people, do that, all of the things that we're told that we should do. And I find myself being annoyed with myself that I'm not doing this. But when I do business in my dreams, I sometimes sleep all day, and then I end up being angry with myself because of that. But in days after that, I see things. People come to my space. People come to my reality, or I have some new clients, or something happens that opens up something. So yeah, some people tease me because they think, how come that Montenegrin people didn't didn't understand? Because they think I'm lazy, and it's actually I do the most work when I am most active, when I sleep, and that I wake up sometimes feeling completely exhausted because I do a lot more work there than I do it in this reality, and I'm like half here and half there. And it took me almost my entire life to understand that I'm doing this. Um, it took me like I didn't just understand that, but I kind of understood it like maybe five, no, 7 years ago. Well, when I went to shamanism, but it still took me a while to understand how am I doing this. It's not that I'm not controlling it, I'm controlling it, but this physical self is a lot weaker than that self that is in another dimension, because that's another dimension. And it confuses me, it still confuses me. But this, where point being that this is where I really am. So the process of coming to terms with that and understanding that is not simple, and it's not easy. It's not only the process of understanding yourself and understanding how your energy works and learning about yourself, but understanding how this entire reality works. And sometimes it's hard to give up on this notion of this linear reality, of this physical plane. And it's hard not to identify with this body, this personality, this material stuff that you have and that you're surrounded with, the difficulties that you have, the whatever is happening outside. Not that everything that is happening outside is inside of you. That's not completely and entirely true. Most part is, but not completely. This is what I've been talking at the beginning about. What are you triggered with? That's what you're triggered with. That's what's inside. What comes out of you when something happens inside. That's what's inside of you. You don't control the entire world and or the entire collective consciousness or unconsciousness. You control your own inner world. And when you understand how you function, how your energy functions, where you're still triggered, where are your points of growth still, and why, and it becomes a little easier to not to be dragged into some stories and some movies, collective or of other people that are not so good for you. And trust me, I've been um, entangling myself a lot into other people's stories and other people's movies, especially since I'm this kind of energy that when I work, since I work in this other plane, the way that I work with people, the way that I heal, and trust me, it took me a lot to say, to admit to myself that this is a form of healing, that I heal, that I'm a healer, is that I enter their reality, their channel, their world, their inner world that creates the outer world, and I experience it as if it's mine. I feel it in my body, I feel it in my energy, I dream it, I feel it physically, I feel the pain in my body, I feel the emotions. And it's so hard to understand what's yours and what's not. And I spent a lot of time trying to convince myself not to do that because everybody kept telling me, don't take it on you, stop doing that. And nobody told me, you're healing like this. This is what you do. So they are in my channel and I enter their reality, but they're in my channel. This I sort of read this energy, but I don't only read it, I bring in change there. But only with the permission. This is what happens this is why my sessions are successful when clients come, because I bring in change, but with their permission. And the permission happens on the higher plane, but in the physical plane too, because I do this before the client comes to me, before the client even calls me. I don't know who's coming. And I still don't understand all of it, because there was literally nobody in this dimension to teach me and to tell me in a way that my mental mind can process it and understand it. But through all of these dreams, that I also have, like I said, designated stalkers who want to prevent this and attack, and other stuff that's going on there that mostly don't share about, because they want to scare people away. But that's what happens on those planes. On the physical plane, you experience it differently. It's actually, I'm lucky enough to have, or lucky enough, or developed enough to have these talents, so that I see it in my dreams and I remember those dreams, so I can actually recognize something in my reality, in physical reality, and do something about it and change it, or don't go into it. Most people are not. This is why you come to see me or other people. But this is what entails you becoming who you really are, you understanding how you function as an energy. What is it that your energy is doing? How you impact work or impact or other people on this reality in this is why we you other people call it you understanding who you really are. You don't need to understand who you really are. You are it. You don't have to understand it. Your mental mind needs to process it and integrate it and understand it so that it allows you to be it. And because you're fighting it if you don't. Like, I mean, I can only say this because I've been through this path. I'm speaking from the experience. And if you use the outer reality as a well as a mirror, but I won't say a mirror, an interface as your interface. Like like I said now for my computer, why the hell is this machine working in this way? Because I don't know why is it changing stuff and not I didn't quite understand how this interface that I'm using as a camera at the moment works, so that I can be in peace while I share this with you, and I'm not annoyed, and I'm not annoying you by moving and extending it. So this is how you treat the outer reality too. How is this interface working in a connection with your energy? Because it's never one-sided. Yes, it impacts you, but you impact it too. But in what way? How? What's your way of moving through these currents? And these currents are also moving through you, but you don't control how they move in you, but you control direction of the current. You can, if you understand. I don't know if I'm making sense at the moment, so please forgive me, but this is actually a longer route on in explaining of how to be who you really are. I'm not saying that I should in this reality present myself as this violet, purple, golden, luminescent being, whatever it is, because most if you saw me like that in this expression, you'd be freaking out. But I know many people are still freaking out when they see all of my props that I'm be using, and all these props, including this and this and this, are the outer expressions of that being that are helping me integrate that and download this energy. Because your body sometimes that energy is too much for your body, and you need more people to download this energy physically and grounded. This is why I have a soul group, and it's great. The best thing ever is if you have them uh, incarnate together with you, and you're living somewhere together and know each other, whether as friends or family or whatever. But in lack of that, you create other things that are helping you be you. And yeah, all of these things that are coming to the surface now and everything that is happening in the outer reality are a release of the old. Change of guards, yes. It's not gonna be that swift, and it's not gonna happen that fast as we would like it to be. And it's not gonna be without challenges and turbulences. In what way it presents itself, in which area, I don't know, because it's different for different parts of the world. But the earth is ascending as a being. All of it. There are certain beings that are stronger in energy, whether they're physically present or present in the dimension, who are emanations of this entity that we know as Earth or Goddess, Divine Mother. And they're helping in and they're grounding this energy, and then there are emanations that are in this physical reality. There are physical beings, human beings, who are also grounding this energy, and they're expanding and ascending uh, with her. And they might have more challenges, or they seem to be having more challenges than others, but they're dismantling them faster too, because they're under protection, or protection too. But all of the human beings are emanations of this being. So we are all shifting and ascending with her. We're all going to feel it. And it's not us who are changing her and helping her, it's the other way around. So we better work in communion with this being rather than collision with it and conflict with it. And mostly what you're seeing around is collapse and dismantling of the old energies, and whether in individual lives of people or collectively or in different planes geographically, it's changing. And it's not a bad change. It's just that there are entities, group beings, groups, and humans. They're afraid of this change, and they're not going to be taking it easily. And they're part of the old, and they're going to be existing anymore. Some institutions, not to say that institutions as they are in itself not going to exist ever. Not true. We're going to still be needing some of the systems, but they're going to be looking. They're going to be functioning differently, and it's not going to happen in the next couple of years, I'm afraid. It's going to be taking a bit longer. There are going to be earthquakes, and there are going to be some disasters, and there are going to be some pockets of aggression and wars and stuff. And as I said, protests and stuff, people rising because they're going to be feeling this inner urge, this inner, I don't have the proper word in English. It's when you can't handle it anymore, but you need a change. You just need change. You need something. You want to do something about. So they're gonna be going out, and we're gonna be aggressive on both sides. But mostly they're people who are working with other people like me should not be getting entangled in that, because you will need to hold the space for this change, and you will have to be the change energetically. And but how somebody feels it in their lives, and how it happens in what parts of the world and reality, I don't know, it's going to be different. So all of the governments of the world will fall, and dismantling is already happening this or that way. And somewhere it's going to be sooner, somewhere it's going to be later, but by spring or summer 2026, all of them are going to be changed. And by 2027, we're going to have a completely different reality, but a completely different world is going to take time to build, because we need to build it. And we do have help in that. And what I spoke a lot about in my Serbian video that I didn't mention here, because I mentioned it there because I only discovered it when I was making that video. It was about 3A Atlas, meteorite, comet, that they're saying it's a comet, but it doesn't behave as a comet. And it has a nuclear light that is coming from it. Doesn't have a tail, at least, or it has a plasma tail, and it's on a trajectory that it seems to be very intelligent trajectory for a comet. And it appeared somewhere around July, beginning of June or July, I think July. And everybody who was talking about it, who researched it, are saying that it's behaving really oddly for a comet, and it feels more as if an interstellar object. It's coming from another dimension, and it's coming from the central sun, central galactic sun, and then it's coming through our sun, and then it's going all around our galaxy and then going all the way back. Pretty intelligent comet, isn't it? And yeah, it's going to be visible because it's behind the sun now. It's going to be visible to us, the closest to Earth, around winter solstice. And I feel like I feel excited because my feeling is that, oh God, family is coming to town for Christmas. So yeah, that makes me so excited. This is not the first interstellar object that came to orbit. The first one was in 2018, if you remember, the cigarette-shaped comet or meteorite Oumuamua. That was a ship, and I knew that before I discovered it, and before they started speaking online on YouTube about it, because I started having strange dreams and strange experiences, a lot of astral attacks, and seeing some strange beings that I was not seeing before. And when I asked in a dream to be shown uh, what's the cause of this, I've been lifted, and I've been shown a rock in a space with a very strange, making very strange noise and strange vibration, not good vibration. And some beings entered our reality, and that was not a good one. That was not a good ship. And I've all the things that I've been mentioning, that I've been on astral planes, it's from those beings. And they entered the some beings that shouldn't have entered our reality then entered our reality. And it was not. That was another object in 2019, I think. Borisov, I don't know the proper word for that. And I didn't know about it. I recently discovered it, but that explains some of my experiences then. That one was an um, a cavalry expedition and researchers stuff. But this one is bringing a change. The Real Atlas is a good thing, and it's help, and I think it's an intervention that we've been waiting for, and it's gonna help with the solar flash. Not it already happened a couple of times already, but it's happening in waves. And this one is going to be, they're, I think, the biggest one, and they're helping with the shifting of consciousness, and they're removing those kind of beings that I've been mentioning. They're here to dismantle the illusion and remove them and arrest them. It's happening in 2019 too, and I've seen some of those and participated in some of those. But this one is like they're the higher beings. This is the object is really big. It's like 11 kilometers, like an island, and then it shifts. And then recently it split it, and it's on the way a trajectory to Mars. They're saying it's gonna hit Mars. I don't think so, but the some of the battles are happening on the higher plane. But this coming into this reality to me that we won. It didn't come down to material plane yet. They're just here to clear the debris and close some passages and some portals and remove some beings from here. And how is this going to present itself in our reality? How is this going to, what changes is going to bring, and how are we going to feel? I don't know. I've been connecting with it. I have conscious memories of it. I've been connecting with it in Greece mostly. I have glimpses of memories on that, but I don't, not the full one. And it's not a bad thing. There haven't been much information around it, although it reached me. But since I made this video, now a lot more information started coming in about it, and a lot more projections and horror scenarios, and they're not here for this. They're here for intervention. But it doesn't mean, intervention with the world's political scene and, changing of governments and stuff. They're not interested in that. They're here to help the Earth's ascension and their extended family and their offspring and their um, I don't have the word, the ones who are their nation, their race, and to be like a buffer for the changes that Earth is going through, for them, not for the humanity, for the Earth, and bring balance in this reality. So I haven't had downloads from there, and not conscious ones, and I'm not connecting at the moment with it, so I'm not channeling that. It's hard to do that. It's not, as if it's not allowing it. I know that there are some channelers who are saying that they're doing that. I don't know, maybe, but they're not Arcturians, and I can assure you of that. So they are differently. They're mixed, but they're mainly, there are a lot of feelings. So why was I, speaking of who you really are? This is the kind of information, and these are the kind of realities that excite me, that I want to talk about, that I want to share, I want to discover about more. And I wish I had more clients who could be connecting with these kinds of realities and speak more about it. But I've had sessions before where my clients were saying that they're watchers and they are part of the fleet, of a galactic fleet, intergalactic fleet, of a guardian fleet, that are observing and taking notes of what is going on, and they're also helping um, the beings that are creating a lot of destruction. They're helping with them, and you know they're taking notes of what they're doing, and then they're reporting back to the higher command. And the higher command is this, that just entered our reality. And then in that sessions, they told me that in around 2020, from 2024 to 26, that we're going to be experiencing these kind of changes. But it got a little bit prolonged. But I'm seeing this now, that I've heard from some clients in the sessions. And then they were part of that fleet, the other fleet, that was taking notes and um, moving um, the beings at grays, that in this particular sessions they were grays, were creating havoc and destruction, and luring them into spaces where there can be the least destruction, where this physical reality will feel it the least. But they're not always successful because they are very tricky and manipulative, and there are others who are in stake. And it's really most of the people that are like including myself, that are involved in this. I'm speaking from what my clients told me, what I'm hearing from other people, and how I'm feeling, are very tired of all of this, especially from the prolonged state of this. And some give up. Some want to do other things. Some say they don't want this mission anymore. This particular client in a session asked to be resolved of this mission. And some lost their lives in this line of duty. So this is why it's taking a lot, because they're a lot manipulative, and they do they make it a business to prolong it and enter this reality. But now this brings hope. The entrance of this object brings hope to me, and my heart feels, like I said, like the family is finally coming to town for a visit. And I think we are in for, yes, surprise, yes, some challenges, but better energies and better reality is ahead of us. And we are not alone in these changes, like we never were. And this is not only the other parts of ourselves that are on these objects. It's, for me, these are actual real real beings, and some people that I would give anything to know in this physical reality, but they're elsewhere, and I feel them more as my family than anyone else that I actually know. So to me, this is like a bomb on my heart, and it brings hope, but we'll see. And they sometimes also don't want to give information and make predictions so that it's not intercepted and changed, because there are a lot of devices, a lot of beings that are still able to, this is why they're prolonging it. And so, was there anything? Is this all that I wanted to say? I might have more information for you after this, after um, the work that I'm going to be doing on myself. But for the moment, I'm just overwhelmed with this heavy energy that it's whether either that I have to clear, that opens up somewhere, and then I'm clearing it and I have to deal with it, or that I'm thrown at by designated stalkers. And yeah, I wasn't that much in this reality. And from what I'm seeing, because of what's going on around here, it's in Belgrade, it's really heavy energy at the moment. It was a much heavier this summer. Now it's a bit more peaceful, but it's still a lot of heavy energy and a lot of astral fights above it, and a lot of this climate changes and everything that we're going through. It's not natural, and it's also somewhere. It's not an astral plane, but it's somewhere above. So it's creating this. And there's a lot of fear and anger in the air, and everybody is focused on protests and political scene around here. Nobody's watching that space. And yeah, I just want to invite you to watch that space, because that's what's going to bring in change that we've been waiting for. We are bringing in this change together with them. It's going to be happening a lot easier and a lot faster if we are doing this consciously and focusing on that plane, and not only on what's happening on the physical plane, because there's going to be a lot of shocks that's going to be grabbing your attention. Some are real traumas and something that people are going through, but some are staged in events or created deliberately to divert attention and um, move energy there so that you're not focused on the inside and creating the change and the reality that you want to be in. But the point is that we need to create this reality collectively. So, my talk about how to be who you really are in times of chaos and change is precisely because of that, because there's going to be a lot. It's already happening. It's been since 2020, but there's going to be more until 2027. More events. They're going to be shifting our focus from creating the reality that we want to be. They already prolonged it. They already disabled some of us, and they already made some of us be stuck in some of the realities that normally we shouldn't have been there. But how this ascension looks for different people, I really don't know. Whether you shifting reality means you don't exist in this reality anymore might be. I don't know. I don't even know that for myself. So how it materializes itself, it's very different from person to person. But I also know that I'm standing on the threshold of a change in my life, but in which direction is that going? At the moment, I also don't know. So stay tuned and thank you for your attention. I hope I made some sense, and I couldn't make it shorter because it's something that is from the depths, coming from the depths of my being. Um, I need to uncover it myself before I tell you. And this is not a lesson in checklist of what you need to do to become who you really are. This is just giving you through my own experience with my own words. What am I doing to maintain this energy of what I didn't understand, and how am I reading the energy that is around me? So take whatever resonates with your heart, and if it doesn't, and none of it resonates with you, then just lay it aside. And thank you for your interest and attention. And without you, I wouldn't be able to continue for this long, but I've been doing this for 10 years, so I gotta be doing something good for all this. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. I would be banned from it. So, yeah, take your time, because your time is God's time. It's not always what somebody else tells you or wants you to believe. And I know, trust me, from my personal experience, that's really hard. And I've been feeling so behind everybody else because of that for for a while now, because I'm not doing anything like everybody else is doing since day one. And that hasn't bothered me as much before when I was younger, but now it's becoming to be like feeling a lot of a bigger burden on my shoulders. But it's only because it's so hard to understand and to not to understand, but to leave this reality. Not leave it, because I'm still in it, but I don't even have the I don't have the words in I don't have language for this. To be this being that I am in this other reality, because in this other reality, that's me. This being here is like an extension of that being, and it's hologram of that being, although I'm flesh and everything. But this is the best word that I can use to explain it, and for my brain still, regardless of my experience and knowledge, it's still hard to accept that. And I know that it's hard for everybody else, especially for those who are just starting this. But that's how it is, and this is what the entire point is. This is a dream. And you, well, especially in my case, some of us are here to bring in change in this reality, and we're just an extension. This much stronger being that is doing this from another plane. This is what we came back here for. We are, the best word would be reincarnations of ascended masters who came, who sent small bits, and it's a very small bit in my case of that entire being, although it's much much an energy bigger than some with someone else. But it's not the point of collecting the energy so that you are all powerful in this field or in this astral plane, because this is just a glimpse of much stronger, much bigger, much wiser being that you actually are. And you are just a small percentage of that being here, so that you can emanate change in a particular way that you're doing it, that is your way, that is the way your energy works. So that was the point of my longer talk. And I hope you took it in your heart, and I hope you understood it, and I hope I made sense. And yeah, thank you for patience and attention, continued support. Much